There we are. All right. Let's get it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to I am your host, Tyrone Bridges. Let's get it.
Welcome, everybody. I am your host, Tyrone Bridges, and I have a very special guest on our show today, a candidate for the Michigan State Representative, District 32, candidate Robyn McCoy. Welcome.
Yes, thank you, Tyrone. Thank you for inviting me to be on your show. And I'm glad that we're having some improvement here with our weather. And just ask away, whatever you want to know.
All right, great. Without further ado, I just wanted to clear it with the public and everything. Everybody know I'm a straight shooter. I do not know you. I've never met you. And welcome to the show. First of all, let the public know about you and what office that you're running for, and actually the map has changed and everything. What areas would your office cover?
Okay, so I'm again, my name is Robyn McCoy. I'm an attorney. I've been practicing for 20 years. I grew up in the Washington Square, 8631 Kingston Court, right around the corner from Sycamore Meadows. You know, we had a little song, Sycamore Meadows song that we did. I'm also representing, I got my straight out of Ypsilanti shirt on today. And this seat is, Ronnie Peterson is the current state representative for the 54th district. So he is term limited. So and this new district is covering, it's going to cover the city of Ypsilanti, the Ypsilanti Township, parts of Pittsfield Township, and parts of Superior Township. So I'm excited. It'll be covering where I grew up. I grew up in Ypsilanti, where in a neighborhood where everybody knew everybody. We had people that worked at the big three. Folks looked out for each other. And so that's where I spent my first 17 years. I went to ECDC and Cheney. And then the rest of the time I did Catholic school. I did St. Francis of Assisi in Ann Arbor, and I went to Father Gabriel Richard High School. And as far as recently, so I was asked by Ronnie Peterson, who is the current state rep, to run for his seat. I'm presently the vice chair for the Michigan Democratic Women's Caucus, and I am the president of Black Women Lawyers of Michigan. I started, at an early age, I wanted to be a lawyer. I was 14. My dad's a lawyer. He and I have a firm, and I was looking, my parents raised me to be very Afrocentric, as you can see. And to be conscious about the Black experience and what's happening to Black and brown folks in society. And so I decided at 14 that I was going to help the brothers in the system. And so I'm happy to say I've been doing that for 20 years. I do criminal defense, I do expungements. Judge Deborah Thomas recruited me to do workshops 8 years ago, and now we have Clean Slate. So I'm actually helping people to get, we have Clean Slate that's more expansive. So I'm actually helping people to get their records cleared. I do educational advocacy. So I help people with overturning suspensions and expulsions for kids, to avoid the school to prison pipeline. Our firm, we were responsible for Walls Manor, and I've done work as far as counseling folks on workers' rights, seniors' rights, housing, and then also I worked as a UAW legal service with a UAW legal service plan as a referral attorney. So I was doing that for a number of years. And as somebody that has so for me, I've been involved with politics at an early age. I was a congressional page for Congressman Ford. And I was, when I was in college, I was mentored by First Lady Michelle Obama, and I got a chance to sit in Barack Obama's, the former president, or I know some people say the current, well, we have Biden, but I'm saying the President Obama, I sat in his class, and I was there when he first ran for state senate out of Chicago.
Mhm.
And the reason I'm running is because, you know, I've helped people to run along the way. I've encouraged them, but I'm doing this thing. I'm getting out here because I want to help more people on a mass scale. And, you know, there are a lot of people that are qualified to run, but they don't run because of the dirtiness of politics. And so I said, you know what, I'm gonna just jump in the race. I'm gonna do this. As of now, I'm the only woman in the race, and, you know, it's Women's History Month. So, you know, I'm just like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I've been helping people throughout my whole career. I've received awards, recognition. I don't do it for that. I do it, it's out of a ministry. I'm a public interest lawyer, and I feel that I would be the best person to go to Lansing and help bring resources back to the district.
All right, great. And it sounds like you were bred from home with that fiber in your body. So without further ado with that, we are glad to have you once again on the show, everybody. We are trying to get more in depth with our candidate for state representative, Michigan State Representative, District 32. And it's very important because from a personal view and from a personal constituent of Ronnie Peterson, I don't look at a person because they work for the person that I don't have a great trust for, because of the times that I've called, the emails that I've sent out and not have replied. I'm looking to embrace one's campaign that have the wherewithal to give a constituent a call back, an email. If a constituent calls you or email you, you should be putting that at your number one priority to try to get back to them. To never get back to them, that's a problem. So that's one concern of my own, as well as other people that have voiced their concern about the candidates that's running for office. Are they going to be a 2.0 of their predecessor? I can't even call you a 2.0. I wouldn't even dare call you a 2.0 because of your litany of history, your accolades and everything that you've done and your family have done. I just want to know that, you know, we could hold you accountable to getting back with us. And on this show, we do make sure that we try to reach out to the candidates once when they get elected, and definitely if you get our support, and hold your feet to the fire and be proud.
Yeah, and I can tell you right now, my number is 734-846-3042, 734-846-3042. My clients will tell you, they call me, I'm accessible. If I'm held up in court, they can text me. So you know, it's not an issue. I'm there. You can talk to my partner. He fusses. He's like, you out there, you always giving to everybody else. You're not giving, you know, you don't have the energy for home time as much. And which I think it is important to have work-life balance. But I definitely, I am somebody that is high energy. Even though I'm a little bit, I know I look youthful. I'm not as youthful as I look, but I'm out there. I've been going out. I've been going to city council meetings. I've been going to the school board meetings. As I worked in Ronnie Peterson's office in the fall up through January, and so I was able to have added exposure, going to meetings, talking about issues that are pertinent to people in the district. And so But then I still have, as I said, I went to the Lincoln Consolidated School Board meeting. I will be out and about. I have been talking to, I teach at EMU, so I've been talking to some of my students about coming out as well. And, just making sure that we're engaged. And I did a program, it was a few weeks ago, at Greater Faith Transitions, and one of the churches on estate planning. So I've been doing this 20 years. I've been doing educational programming. I do programming on expungement, what to do when stopped by the police, how to navigate the public school system. So and people have asked me in the course of doing that, all that I've done at being president of the Van Zandt Hamilton Bar Association, the Black Bar Association, where we actually have an expungement event coming up in June. They have said, are you running? Why are you're out here, you're doing this stuff. What are you running for? And I was like, I'm not running for anything. I'm educating the people. I mean, Hosea 4:6 says people perish for lack of knowledge.
All right.
And for me as an attorney, I often encounter people when they're at their worst, either whether it's a criminal case or it's a family law or, custody battle, child support, estate planning, somebody has died, that's why I try to do, for me, when people hurt, I hurt. So it's like, I don't like to see that pain. So what is a pain reliever? Preventative measures. What to do when stopped by the police? when I was seeing brutalization of Black men, women, and children in society, and with Michael Brown, Tamir Rice, Ora Rosser, I was like, I reached out to partners, to the police, the sheriff, the attorneys, the prosecutors, and I said, we've got to do these programs. So that was back in 2014. So and I've been doing them. I've been going in the classroom, middle school, high school, college, doing these programs. I was asked to document some of the programs I've done, and I had like 8 pages of programs. And so that was even before I thought about running for office. People are like, when are you going to run? What are you going to run for? When is it going to happen? And then, I just decided, I don't know, I'm sure you've seen, it's insanity out here. You have some wacky people that are in public office right now. And I'm like, oh my gosh, oh no, I got to get out here. And I've supported some folks that have been really good over the years and being in office, but there are some folks that are not that great. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to get up in there and be like, as Judge Deborah Thomas, my mentor, is the people's judge. I want to be the people's representative. And expungement is a clear example. Like, I am doing it. We're doing it. I've been doing the workshops before. Now, what we have is a beautiful thing. We have a governor that's progressive. We have an attorney general. And so it makes a world of difference. Now, it still needs to be expanded further, because there are people that have more than 3 felonies. Like right now, it's 3 felonies, it's unlimited misdemeanors. It needs to be expanded further, because people need to understand. And we're not trying to say that everybody all just, because somebody was saying to me the other day, oh, you're going to just let all the criminals out of jail or whatever. And I'm like, I'm not talking, there should be consequences for your actions, but there's alternative means for dealing with issues. And then once you pay your debt to society, it's been 20, 30 years, you shouldn't be hindered. And there are judges that are saying, look, if a person has 4 to 6 felonies, maybe they're nonviolent offenses, and they haven't gotten in trouble, but they're hindered. We're in a depressed environment here in this district, and people, it's like you hear about the employers that they have jobs, but they don't have employees. And it's like, I have people calling me every day, literally, Ms. McCoy, I want to work, but my prior record is hindering me from working. And I'm like, we've got to connect. We've got to fix this disconnect. And so, I don't just walk the walk. I'm just talk the talk. I'm walking the walk. I'm in the trenches already, but I just think that by going to Lansing, I can go that much further to help more people on a mass scale.
And I praise God for you. I praise God for you. Now, in the spirit of Women's History Month, It should be Women's History Year or Women's Year,
Right.
because right now we have covered on our show, in the spirit once again of Women's History Month, we have covered a volume of beautiful Black women that are in office, white women that are in office, beautiful white women that are in office, women on our show.
Okay.
We've covered the Honorable Judge Tracy Vandenberg, who's got elected. Also the Honorable Judge Elaine Washington,
Okay.
who got elected. And we have a problem in Washtenaw County where you have some women being heard and some women not being heard. And they are of the minority ethnicity because they're either poor, also maybe even foreigners,
Okay.
and they have numerous of kids. We've covered a story on our show called the Ypsilanti. It was the predator in Ypsilanti. The lady's name was Ann Peoples. I don't want to cover this in depth on this interview with you,
Okay.
but when you get a chance to, please check it out. Right now, we have an imbalance in the system of women getting justice, some women getting justice and some women getting unbalanced justice. In her case, quickly, she has children, many children. Her husband is not paying any support to the children.
Okay.
That is a problem because currently people are getting locked up. I've been doing court watches for a minute now.
Okay.
And I have been in the system myself years ago. When people get locked up for not paying child support, and you got women taking care of numerous of kids without getting support for whatever there is, whatever reason. And I'm not saying just because you're running for office, you can wave your hand over and make this situation or have this situation looked into. But the balance of child support is very important, because if the father is not paying support for those numerous of kids, then the public has to pitch in. That's coming out of the taxpayers' dollars, right?
Right.
So by looking at a case like that, and cases like other cases around here, men are being paid, men are being made to go to jail, and their license are being suspended because of lack of paying child support. But in situations like this, there's numerous of situations. How you being elected and you being a woman, understanding and sympathizing for a parent and taking care of these kids without the support of the father, and the system is looking down at other people and putting them in jail. I don't know if it's the economic status. I don't know if it was the ability to be able to skirt from one country to the next, but that's a problem. Wouldn't you think so?
I agree. I mean, I've represented, I mean, a lot of men that owe child support, that are struggling to pay child support, that don't know, they don't get educated about the process, like that if they're not working or if they've had a reduction of income, that they should motion it up before the court. So I've seen that side of it. I've also represented mothers that are like out there, they're super women, and they're struggling to provide support. So I've helped mothers to get the resources and contacts necessary to have more aggressive actions taken for the fathers. There are fathers, some fathers out there have the money. So for those that have the money, you can go in and there's things you can do with the court, and you can intercept their taxes. You can, you can do an income withholding order from their paycheck. So for the fathers that have the wherewithal, I definitely think that they should be made to pay the child support. For the fathers that are, I think it's extreme to, because I have seen it. Again, I see people in jail cells. I have seen it for the ones where they lock them up and they say, pay this, pay $10,000, or you're gonna get 45 days in jail. I'm just like, I don't know what's the benefit. I feel like they should have some kind of setup where maybe the guys can go work and work off the money that they owe, or do some kind of community service that will lead to resources that will help their child. I come from a home with a mother and a father. My mother is an Air Force veteran and a nurse, and my father is a lawyer. And I think children need a mother and a father. So I think the money is definitely it's important to have the money from the father, but it's important to have children need a mother and a father. I've worked in the neglect courts, and I've represented children that have been caught up with the neglect and abuse, some of them have been abandoned by the families. And so as far as what I think the legislature should be doing is there should be just more resources for these children so that they can be successful and thrive. I was able to have a mother and a father. I've been able to have mentors and teachers that help guide me, as I progressed, and I was able to become a success because of that. And also as a Christian, God, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if it wasn't for God. God has gotten me. And I think about the talented 10th. They talk about you get where you want, you excel, but you got to reach back. That's why I'm president of Black Women Lawyers in Michigan. We've been doing educational workshops and programming. Before it was in person, now it's virtual. We have a YouTube channel so the public can watch our programming. We did a programming about the housing crisis. We brought an expert in to talk about that. We brought experts to talk about the mental health crisis. We brought an expert in to talk about civil rights issues. How do you deal with those issues? We had Ben Crumb come in and Zoom in and talk to us in the midst of all the insanity with the continued brutalization of Black men, women, and children with George Floyd, Dante Wright, Breonna Taylor, all of that. So yeah, I definitely think, if there, folks are welcome to call me. As I said, 734-846-3042. I know my daddy, shout out to my dad, Robyn McCoy. He gonna be fussing, you always out there, and you spending time, and I can counsel you. I try to help people directly. If it's something I know how to do, I will work with you directly. If it's not something I know how to do, I will access resources, whether if it's like a bankruptcy issue, a bankruptcy lawyer, or legal aid, or it just depends, that's, as a lawyer and a practicing lawyer for 20 years, I'm a problem solver. And even before that, I was a congressional page, so I was able to get firsthand exposure to the political system when I was 16. And when I was in college, I interned in Senator Carol Moseley Braun, our first Black woman senator, in her office. And I was able to deal with constituent concerns. And then in the time that I worked with Ronnie Peterson's office, I was able to help address constituent concerns. But that's just what I do as a lawyer. Our firm, we do that. We're a community firm. My dad, he made, oh, you out there. And I'm like, but okay, but my grandfather was a minister, and we have a lot of ministers that we work with. And we're a community firm. And we're actually the only father-daughter African-American owned firm in this area. And it's a beautiful thing, but it's also only 5% of lawyers are Black. And that's a problem. We haven't even had a Black woman on the Michigan Supreme Court. Mm-hmm. And if you're asking me specifically what platforms would I look at, I'll be looking at, on the neglect side, wanting to have parenting classes to talk to people about how to properly parent so they don't have to worry about the state rushing in to take their kids. you know, in situations that could be resolved with services in the home. On the side of the child support and you know, having more educational programming for mothers so they can find out how they can get access, because when the men are working, they should be able to file those motions, get that income withholding order, get that money. You know, for the flip side, for the men, when letting them know, because it's a messy scene in court when the judge is like, you owe this amount of money, you haven't paid, jail, jail, jail. And I'm like, jail and giving a person a felony non-support charge on their record, I'm like, how is that going to benefit them? That because if they're trying to get work and certain jobs, if you have a felony, they're not going to let you work. So I don't know where that comes into play, where there's a thought that that's going to be helpful in the long run.
Well, maybe definitely that's something that we can look at as a collective people to try to do away with that jailing the father for something like that. But for the sake of time, I definitely want to move on to the next issue that concerns, once again, women and also some men. Washtenaw County have a problem, mainly in Ypsilanti. There's a lot of predators running around here in Washtenaw County, Ypsilanti mainly, running ravishing on Eastern Campus as well. Like I said, we cover a lot of shows where we have people come on and tell us their experiences. That's a problem too. I know you were talking about reform, and also expungements, but some of the constituents are like lost with that, because if everybody's talking about expungement and wiping everybody's record clean, who's going to worry about these deep predators that's out here hurting these families, breaking in these people's houses, attempting to rape their kids, and some successes? Also, the rapes on Eastern Michigan University campus. I know you said you teach there sometime, but I'm just saying that affects the public and your constituents as well. So we hear everything on the positive side and the programs and this, that, and the other, but let's talk about the other sides of the constituents that are hurt, that are feeling that the law enforcement working with the court system is not working. Low cash bond or people getting out on bond and repeating offending. All of that. The constituents over here would like to know, what would you be doing to help the public that you're serving? On that side, we get everything on this side, but what about this side here?
Well, what I'll say about expungement is expungement does not, they're not going to, if you have a life offense, murder, rape, you're not going to get that expunged from your record. So it's not willy-nilly, just everybody gets their record cleared, and it's not a guarantee. So it's something, it's a privilege. And you have to show that you have given back to society. You have to prove that you meet the eligibility requirements.
I get you, but we're talking about, not the expungement part.
Right.
We're talking about the current situation that's out here right now. These mothers right now that are up in the air, like, what are we going to do? We can't get no help from the system. There are some criminals that should be allowed their record expunged. And there are people currently that's out there offending. And the parents over here like, who's going to speak for us? That's what I'm talking about. I guess the underdog part of the community that nobody's really speaking for.
And so what I would say is, in my work as a lawyer guardian ad litem, I have seen it all. I have seen babies that have been burned with irons. I have seen children, and I have advocated for children that have been sexually abused. I have female genital mutilation. I had a case with some young ladies that the parents were brainwashed by the Duri Burra sect. And so I've worked with folks that are traumatized and helping to get them the proper resources, getting trauma counseling. I've had children that have been sexually victimized trying to work with the prosecutors to make sure that their victims, you know, so it's like if there's an issue of statute of limitations about being victimized, trying to make sure that we expand statute of limitations. So, or, you know, if a person is molested at a young age, they can still go after that perpetrator. On, EMU's campus, what we have is they have training for faculty. So if we recognize any inappropriate behavior, that we put a call to action. And so I'm not gonna get into any details about anybody's business, but I have been involved with helping to deal with issues. When people bring me certain issues, I will address them. Sometimes I may address them like in your face. I'm like, yeah, oh, I got a problem with this, and you'll see it on my social media. Sometimes I'm behind the scenes doing things and to advocate for people to make sure that they our justice is sought. It might be a matter of a call to the prosecutor, call to the police. I did meet with Chief DeGusti, the Ypsilanti police chief, the other day to talk to him about this issue, because there's a big concern about lawlessness and what's being done. And I know that there's a need for more police, but more, police that are, and when you call the police, if the police come, they don't beat you up if you're Black and brown, but they come and address your issue. So it's just like when I do the What to Do and Stop by the Police, and the kids are saying to me over the years, you talking to me, but are you talking to the police? I have been talking to the police as well about accountability. And I think that we need, so it's funny, we've had people saying this stuff about defund the police, and I don't know where that came from. I don't think that came from some Black folks in the inner city. Okay, because most Black folk I know, most of us, we want the police to come. We want them to come, and we want them to come in a timely fashion and address whatever the issues that are there. There's also a need for social workers, mental health workers, because what I see in the courts is, there's different classifications of folks. You have some folks that have mental health issues. We need mental health. I mean, I have a mother now, she's struggling with homelessness and some mental health issues, and I'm trying to help her get resources. And, Governor Engler closed down the mental health facilities. And that's a disservice to the people in my district and to the people in the state of Michigan. I've helped clients to get mental health support so they can get stabilized, because some of them should not be in the jail. Now, there are some folks, they got, and it's not like, when I became a lawyer, I thought I was going to be in front of the jury all the time. We're going to be fighting a good fight. It's not even like that. It's like more damage control. It's like people are getting in situations. Some of them are innocent and they're like, I'm innocent. And we're like, okay, you're innocent. We're going to trial. We're going to fight this. But most of the cases are just negotiating whether it depends on the severity of what they're doing. Like, are they going to, can they get resources in the community? Some people can't. Some people can't. Some people going to jail, they going to prison, they about to be locked up, especially if they just keep doing the same thing and they've had resources given to them. So I think it's just a matter of making sure that we have the specialists in place, social workers, more social workers, mental health support. And the other issue that the police tell me that they have is when something happens is that people speak up. I know they have the thing about snitches get stitches, but if you talk about the drug dealer that's on your corner, you'll be able to get rid of them, and we have to work on giving more funding in the witness protection or whatever needs to make that person feel comfortable that if they talk about what they're seeing in the community, that they can do that and they can get rid of the plagues that ail our society.
We haven't heard, I've been in politics, I've been covering politics for a while in Washtenaw County. We haven't heard very many politicians ever say what you have said. And honestly, we need more. We need more of them to have the wherewithal, the courage to speak the same thing, because ain't no community ever going to be clean if you don't get community involvement. And the people do need to be protected. And they need to understand, if you want your community clean, by all means, pick up the phone and make that call. We need to boost the morale of the police officers as well. When the
Right.
police officers, the good police officers, do their jobs, but then when the suspect goes to the criminal justice system, the court system, sometimes more than a few lately, our public has been hurt by the suspects being allowed back out in the public again, and then end up the suspect being charged with a bigger charge. So that's, to me, that's allowing that suspect to be set up for an additional failure. And that's not doing the public any good. So if the public sees that type of interaction or process in this judicial system, and they the one picked up the phone and made that call, and they feel, well, I just called on that person, and that person is right back out setting up shop, or right back out putting a bullet in Ethel's son or John's son, or shot somebody up riding down the street. You know, what about that? And the public is worried about that, because Ipsy, all these shootings, a lot of the shootings that haven't been reported, Ipsy's becoming a laughing stock because it's not being covered. A lot of stuff is not being covered. And the facts are not being spoken.
Right. And I've talked to my friends that are police officers. You know, I guess I am a criminal defense attorney. I will say that, but I have friends that are police officers that have told me they are frustrated with the way, I mean, it's a balancing act, because it's like, we've had COVID. You don't want people, there are certain people that go into the jails, and you've had COVID, and we filed motions for compassionate release for certain folks to get out so they don't get sick and die. Just because I mean, if you do a retail fraud, that don't mean you should, that should be a death sentence. But if you're doing something more severe, then, so I don't agree with just getting rid of cash bail across the board, because it's situational. It depends on the circumstances, and you have to assess the circumstances. And you don't want people to be re-victimized. You know, as I said, I've represented children that have been victimized, brutalized. You don't want to just keep, just like the Black experience, Black and brown in America, Black males. My program, the What to Do When Stopped by the Police, was tailored specifically. I say what to do when stopped by the police, but it's really how to survive the stop, how to survive the interaction with the police officer so that you live. I want you to live to tell your tale. It's expanded, obviously, to Black women, Black children, people with disabilities. I mean, it's universal, but specifically for Black males, I see that there's issues there. And to address what you're saying about shootings and things happening in Ypsilanti, I know we have my brother's keepers, but what I have seen as in my 20 years of practice and working with the youth and adults in the criminal justice system is there's a need for more mentoring. And to me, mentoring in the schools, Black male mentoring. It could be a white male too, but I'm just saying, we need to be a village. And you know what I see with the situation is like, and you'll see it too, a lot of people that end up in the prisons, you find out they have dyslexia, they have special ed issues that should have been addressed at the preschool and kindergarten level. I just did an IEP the other day for a young man, and we're trying to make sure that he gets all his supports necessary. What I have seen is, if you have the village approach, I also had a mom and a daddy too, with a belt. And I know, the system has it set up now. If you said you can restrain your child, but if you end up leaving a mark, you'll catch a case. So some of my first cases out of Washington County were parental discipline cases. Parents that were spanking their children, and then the system came in and was trying to say it's a problem. And then I took them to trial, and we got not guilty or not responsible, because I was like, hold up right here. I would not be where I am, just like I said, without God, without parents that disciplined me and taught me so it's like we need as a village, because you don't always have parents, you have caregivers, you have aunties, uncles, grandmas. We need to be able to give them the freedom to have the structure in the home. It shouldn't be a situation where the parent brings the child down to the court and they're like, here, take this child. I'm in fear of this child. I could never, coming from my household, I could never imagine it won't be going down to court. It wasn't gonna be, we weren't calling, my parents weren't gonna be calling the police. My mama, my daddy, they was gonna handle it internally. They taught me to respect my elders. You respect your parents, your teachers, the police, you show respect, you get respect. So it's, we need to have a whole revamping of the system, because I, that stuff back in the day that worked in the neighborhood. I couldn't do anything in my neighborhood. My neighbors might come and spank me. They might come and discipline me and regulate me. But today, you go and touch somebody else's child, you go and do something, and then they're gonna be like, oh my goodness, this you touched. And the teachers too. It's funny because, talking about the teachers, but then we just put a lot of expectations on these teachers and the police, and it's not realistic. I mean, teachers should be able to teach. They shouldn't have to be so caught up in just regulating. I mean, people that are children that are just ultimately just majorly disrespectful. Like, the parents have got to tell their kids to be respectful. I was told I wasn't gonna be having no calls. They weren't calling my mama, because I was scared of my mama. My mama today, she might come up in here now. Look, you got to have structure in the home.
Definitely. In the community as well, because it definitely bleeds into the community.
Right.
As far as community programming and you having more Black males in the community doing things, the funding sources that are currently available in the county, if you're not a part of the My Brother's Keeper, in which everybody's not a part of that, you should not have to go through Derek Jackson just to seek funding. You should not have to actually go through the sheriff department to seek funding. And also, there should be some level of state funding that's available to encourage more Black males to get back into the fray of working with youth. Because I used to do it many, 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 many years, volunteered for many years, over 30 some years.
Okay.
Tired. Nobody have offered a job. Still out here doing it. Still out here teaching, still out here working with youth. My problem is, majority of the times you go to a lot of these people and you want to provide programs, they always say you got to go through Derek Jackson or the sheriff department or Kathy Wyatt. That has to stop. And at the state level, if you are elected as our state rep, we would like for you to help balance some funding up there at the state level, if possible, to encourage more male Black mentors in Washtenaw County, in Ypsilanti, in Superior Township, in those problem hot spots. Because a lot of mentors, they want to mentor. A lot of fathers that are empty nesters and their kids grown, that want to do something before they fuck around and die. Want to help other kids, but there has to be some funding other than that sheriff department and through that Derek Jackson. It has to be.
Well, I will say this. I mean, I think that the sheriff and Derek and Kathy, they're doing some great things, but being from this area and being somebody that's been a part of the church, Christian Love Fellowship, Unity, I think that I would like to see more funding given. Like, I know Reverend Kraut has had some mentoring programs. Pastor Harold Wimberly has done a lot with the youth in the community. I would like to see some more of the churches be involved with getting funding and recruiting folks to to mentor Black males, to mentor the children, because what I've seen in the court, in the juvenile court, we've had some specialized programming where they won't just rush and lock the kids up. They give them community programming, and you're coming back to court more often. And we had a Black, it was a Black referee. This is out of Wayne, a Black referee, and we had a judge, and the kids those were the father figures for the kids. And we had some really good results with specialized programming, individual therapy, group therapy for the kids and the parents, making sure the kids, if they needed medicine, they were taking medicine. But it's like, we shouldn't have to go through the courts to do that. We should have that in the community. We should have community centers that, I know we have Park Ridge, so it's like a matter of giving more resources to Park Ridge, to the churches, to the ministers, to the righteous ministers, because my partner, Attorney Ed Taylor, he'll say, don't just be giving money to any old body. You got to make sure it's people that are going to have results, get results. I'm a results-oriented person. I mean, I'm doing expungement, but I'm very careful. I don't just, I try to assess. I come back to that expungement because I don't know, as a defense attorney, there's nothing like when you have somebody, like I had a lady, she had 3 felonies, and she went and got educated, and she was given back to the community. She was an educator in the school system. And there's nothing like that feeling when you have somebody, but she wasn't able to elevate further in her career. When I've had clients that weren't able to elevate in their career, and they're doing good. They even with a record, they're doing good. And I want to see our youth, there's an issue with the school system here. All of our children are gifts from God, and they have that ability to be successful, but it's like a plant. If you don't water the plant, it's not going to thrive.
Just like you said, the village initiative, when you got people in places that can usher that village initiative in, you do have some elements of leadership within the county that choose not to work with certain people. And we have to get that out the way too. We have to quit playing the friend shit. I mean, it's just blunt because they tell you I'm blunt as hell. We have to stop playing the friends and the cousins and black because really the constituents are going to listen to this interview. They're going to get home tonight. They're going to listen to this interview. And from my take, and I appreciate you so much. I appreciate what you've done and your family and your expungement efforts and everything, because I'll be hopefully one day a recipient of the expungement. Okay. But there's white.
Call me. I'll run your iChat. We'll do what I do. Yeah,
that's cool. But there's white constituents out there, and I know people who I was raised on the South Side with hate me when I talk about other colors, because there are people that everybody needs to understand. We are people. We need representative for all people. We do need representative for those who are underserved, but a lot of us has been underserved, whites and blacks.
Right. And my clients, I have clients that are black, working class, white. So it's not, I'm just speaking from an interviewer's standpoint, that your other constituents want to hear more. They would definitely want to hear more about what the other side. I ain't saying the white or this, that, and the other. The other sides are minorities too. They have issues and need help as well. They suffer from mental illness and need help. The kids need to learn how to work together in the school systems. And the kids definitely need doses of respect, and the school needs the backing of the legislators to encourage teachers to teach that respect. That's how we're going to build that village. We're going to have to work together. We're going to have to work together on this plan over here that a lot of people might not agree with, and this plan over here that some people might agree with, and try to mesh them together, just like when we did the merger of the schools. Right.
But we definitely have to fend for additional funding to help us succeed. And the churches are a good source as well, but We don't always need to have to go through churches or the sheriff department. There's Muslims that's out here available that want to do programs. There's non-denominational people that's out
Right.
here.
No,
that wants to
I've
do
worked,
things.
Muslims, I've worked with Minister Troy Muhammad out of the Nation of Islam. I've talked to him about some things, but I've also, no, I hear what you're saying. I mean, I think Michigan is such a beautiful state and has so much potential. I would like to see us get rid of taxation on people's retirement accounts. I mean, we shouldn't have seniors that are wanting to leave the state. Other states don't have that. We should have that addressed. Workers' rights. We need to make sure that, as I said, I work for the UAW Legal Service Plan. We want to make sure that we're advocating for workers, seniors, making, I do estate planning, making sure that seniors are protected. That's why I do preventative workshops, so that we make sure that all the plans are in place, that people have a durable power of attorney for health, for finances while they're alive, so that when they become disabled, that they have trusted relatives around them or friends to support them. And then if they pass away, so everything is just done in a way, it's not as messy. As I said, I'm a problem solver. So people come to me, when I say problem, it's almost like a crisis. People come to me in crisis, and I try to do what I can. If I can help directly, I do it directly, or I give them resources. But it's really about, I would say, what is my motivation for running is trying to have crisis prevention, because what I've seen in the courts, it's already, by the time I see people in the juvenile court, criminal, family, probate, even civil court, sometimes it's already way past. It's like, oh my gosh, we could have nipped this in the bud in the community, in the schools, in the church, in the mosque. Things could have been at the workplace. Things could have been addressed long ago, where we don't go to the court system. And sometimes the court system is a broken system. If you're going to a broken system to get fixed, and it's not doable in some situations.
That is true. That is true. And definitely we have a lot of work to do. Washtenaw County ain't 100% wrong, but we have a lot of work to do. We definitely do. And for the last few little minutes on this interview with you, we would like to yield this over to you to appeal to the public to come to your campaign website, give us your campaign information, talk to us, let us know what you got events coming up, how to get involved. Take the floor.
Okay, so again, thank you, Tyrone, for inviting me to be on your show. And my name is Robyn McCoy. I'm running for state rep for the 32nd district, which is the city of Ypsilanti, Ypsi Township, parts of Pittsfield, and parts of Superior. I'm on Facebook, it's Robyn McCoy MI. I'm on Twitter, Robyn McCoy MI. You see the theme, Instagram, Robyn McCoy MI. My email is robyn@robynmccoy.com, and Robyn is with a Y, ROBYN, at robynmccoy.com. And then you can go to donate at robynmccoy.com/donate on Act Blue. I will be doing I have a campaign video that will be coming out soon and rolling out my full website. And then I'm planning a campaign kickoff that we're looking at a date in April. And I will be out in the community. I'll be at community meetings. So folks, if you want to come up and approach me, and as I said, you can call me on the phone, 734-846-3042. I have no problem. I get calls all the time. If I don't respond right away, I might be in court. I might have to text you. But I do this. I'm running for office for the people, public safety, educational achievement, affordable housing, senior worker rights, infrastructure, making sure our roads. I know the governor said she was gonna fix the darn roads, and I'm like, dude, I'm driving around the district. These roads, if this district needs some help, like we need help with the schools. We need help with making sure it's a depressed economy. We need to make sure we have jobs for people. We need to make sure that I know that there's been issues raised about the Huron Correctional Valley facility, the way women are treated. Again, this is Women's History Month. We need to just And so if you put me there, I'm a connector. I will do the work, but it's a team effort. It's a village. I'm a collaborator. So if you want to collaborate with me for the success of everyone in the district, then as I said, vote for me, Robyn McCoy. The primary is April 2nd. And again, my email is robyn@robynmccoy.com.
The primary is what now?
The primary is August 2nd, Tuesday, August 2nd. Absentee ballots come out in June. And so I'm doing this thing. I mean, I've been the vice chair for the Michigan Democratic Women's Caucus. So I've encouraged and I've supported women running or other candidates that what my dad has always said to me is about, like you talked about race or gender, class, or whatever. He said, look at how the person treats you. Don't just look at their race or their gender, class. Look at how they treat you. He said, you support the people that support you. And that, I mean, I really see it as I've gotten into this race. You get to really see who your supporters are, you got some people that are diehards. You've been there for them, they'll be there for you. And then you get to see some of the folks that were just surface. So this is politics. And, and I also want to give a shout out to my Aunt Virgie. She's the DNC chair for the Black Caucus. And for this is Women's History Month. And she has been one of my first mentors. As I said, Michelle Obama, my dad, my mama, can't leave out Nurse Pam, Air Force veteran, but Aunt Virgie has been holding it down. She's been mentoring young people, and she's been giving me guidance and support. And I know you had said you had issues with Rep Ronnie Peterson, but Ronnie Peterson, he reached out to me. He knew, I've been talking to him for years about my interest in running for office, state rep, state senator. And he basically said to me, I think you would be the ideal candidate to get in this race and help carry on my legacy. And I obviously agree because I'm out here in the mix. But this politics is very interesting, and I am approachable. So it's not even, like I said, 734-846-3042. Call me if you want to help. We're gonna have people doing phone banking, door knocking. We're gonna be in the mix. You're gonna see me out in the mix. And I've been in the mix anyway, even when I wasn't trying to run. So it's not even like, because some people like, we only see people when they're running for office. Look, you can look on my YouTube. I got Robyn Legal YouTube. I got Political Coffee. But if you look on social media, you see I've been out in the mix. And I always, like I said, everybody are straight out of Ypsilanti. I represent for Ypsilanti because I just appreciate so much what I have gained from being a resident of Ypsilanti. Growing up in the neighborhood, everybody looked out for everybody. My parents looked out. We would have it when we were growing up. Some stuff would happen, and in the neighborhood, they would come to our house. My dad, my grandfather was a Pentecostal minister, and my dad tried to act like he's not a minister. He's a lawyer. He's like, I'm a lawyer, but people were like, no, I just feel like when I'm around you, I got to feel a call. And he inbred that into me, into my family. I have an older brother, younger sister, and but we've adopted folks. I have mentees, young folk, older folk, and people have adopted me, and that's what it's about. It's about community, and it's about family, and it's about us lifting each other up for the greater good.
Bravo. Bravo. We appreciate you, and definitely we definitely have two other candidates that's coming on this meeting for the same position, but we will have our decision made shortly thereafter. We're doing our fact checking, and we're also doing more digging and seeing what we can find out about our candidates before we pledge our support. And yeah, if we back your campaign, we're gonna rock it on our show constantly, over and over and over again, until you are elected. And then we're going to follow you all the way through your campaign. And it would be the end of the legacy of Ronnie Peterson, but it would be the beginning of yours. And That's the exciting part that we are looking forward to. We love your energy, and we appreciate you having so much to do out in the public. And we thank you very much for coming on the show. And don't be a stranger after you become elected. If you choose to if the public chooses you and you become elected, please come back on the show and do a follow-up interview with us. All right.
Okay, definitely. I mean, as I said, you got my cell phone number, so it's
We will be reaching out with you now. We will be checking out to you one way or another. Thank you, and tell your family we appreciate what y'all do, and we appreciate your mom's service to our country. Have a good
Okay,
day.
thank you. You
All
have a
right.
blessed day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.